Now, there are some spiritual movement that have definitely the willingness to be as healthy as they can, because they understand everything affects everything, and you want to be on the spiritual path, you want to have a conscious lifestyle, so you want to be as optimal as possible. But even in, let's say, the yoga world,
right.
And one of the things, I'm going to talk to what I know, because I know the Eastern has the same component as the Ayurveda, which is the ancient medicine, that means the
which
science of life. You studied that, right? Well, I studied the yoga about 18 years ago, and there's this 3 body constitution. I was one of the body constitution that I was told by this Ayurvedic doctor, you have to eat a lot of cooked food, otherwise you're going to get off balance. So now we're already in this so-called conscious movement. We're trying to be optimal, and they're telling us raw food is just going to increase your vata, as it's called. And what do you have to say about that?
Well, let's be really candid here. That's the only way I know how to be.
Okay.
That when one purports, one says they're open and they're spiritual, what that really means, to me at least, is that you're always ready for change, that you're always ready for the next knowledge.
But of course.
Yeah, because knowledge is not static, it's not ancient. And what we tend to do as human beings is we say, well, it's 1,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 years old. This is a good example of where corruption can occur.
Yes.
Okay, now, it doesn't mean that everything I know and everything you know is perfect. But as long as we're willing on a daily basis to learn and to grow and to develop with current information. As an example, 50, 60 years ago, if somebody said, oh, we're going to go and walk on the moon, everyone would say, oh no, that's an impossibility. Now we take for granted we can walk on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone 30 years ago, if I said I'm going to take a phone and walk around without a wire and talk to people all over the world on my phone, would say, oh no, that's not going to happen. Now we don't know how to live without the phone. And the same thing, I have a lot of respect for Ayurvedic. In spite of the fact they knew nothing about the body, immunological, biochemical, psychological, neurological, nothing, they created a fairly good system with external sources. The way your body looks, the shape of your body, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But look, we've learned a lot in thousands and thousands of years. So let's take the best of Ayurvedic, add on our current knowledge, and be ready daily to improve that knowledge. Raw food is certainly state-of-the-art in science, certain state-of-the-art in the way to get conscious, and we know now exactly how that occurs.
I mean, it's something simple I'm thinking about is that we're the only species that eat cook and get sick. Animals don't get sick and eat raw. So I'd be aligned more with that than some ancient...
You got it. What you just said, and let's both repeat this again, is that every single creature on the earth except humans and the animals we've made domestic eat 100% raw diet. My institute for 53 years has placed hundreds of thousands on raw food diets.
Yeah.
And they all get better and they improve in consciousness.
Now, well, if I look at the diet of the animals and precisely those animals with DNA is closest to human, like the monkey, for instance, and I look at what they eat, I would theoretically think I should copy that, but it seems like as human, and it's funny because the Ayurveda is talking about the 5 tests, you know.
Right.
It seems like we need to have some kind of a fulfillment in rich test, and this diet that animals have seems to be so plain, from, you know, sweet, salty, spicy, all the thing that makes us feel good. Is that again related to the emotional, or? It's
related to the emotional, but remember, what differentiates in the human mind, this is not true, but in the human mind what differentiates us from all other creatures is food. That we're the only ones that sit at a table, socialize, and prepare food. So in that, it's become ritual and rhetoric, not unlike conservative religion.
Yeah. It's not about survival.
It's just because it's Eastern philosophy doesn't mean that it's not corrupted. You know, the fact of the matter is, it's ritual and rhetoric. It has nothing to do with instinctual reality and common sense.
Well, you said something earlier that I'd like you to repeat, because it was actually the idea of, I don't know how you said it. You say when you have a life, you don't have to eat to have a life. How did you say that, if you can remember?
One of the mottos or slogans we have at Hippocrates is don't eat to live. Don't live to eat. Eat to live.
Yeah, and could you expand on that?
Okay, now what that really means is that when we don't have a life, the socialization at the lower level of consciousness is that we have to sit at a table, we have to talk, we have to socialize. The next level, the new paradigm, is that food is a fuel. That what we've learned in science overwhelmingly is people who eat the least food, and not every day, are the healthiest and live the longest. So food should never have become a central grounding for civilization.
Right.
That food should be the fuel.
Yeah.
In the higher levels of awareness, we then raise ourselves from the fuel, because there's a chemistry that happens there, to greater ways to communicate with all other creatures, the universe as we know it, and we become civil on a practical level where we know how to live on a planet and maintain it rather than destroy it.
Can you just precise what you mean by having a life? Because everybody has a life. Everybody's.
Nobody
what
has.
do you mean?
Nobody has a life unless you have passion.
Passion.
It's
so
that simple.
Like a sense of purpose, you mean?
Well, number one, why we're here. When I'm with people who are dying, and the two most honest times on the planet is when a baby is born. There's nobody embellishing or telling stories, and when people are dying.
Yeah.
It's pure. And the 300 times or so that I've been in that sacred place, people all talk about being fulfilled. Have I been fulfilled or have I not? Sadly, 3 out of 300 have been fulfilled. They're ready to move on. They're spiritually connected. The other 397 were not.
Yes.
So what is our life about? It's about fulfillment. The only way you can become fulfilled is find your passion. Because the only thing you'll do 100% without compromise and fully give yourself always is what you're passionate about. If you're partially passionate, no. If you're mostly passionate, no. You must be complete. Absolutely passionate. That's how you get fulfillment. That's what a life is. If you don't have that, why are you crying? Why are you whining? What's wrong with you?
Well, that I totally hear you. It also takes to be able to move out of your fear to fully embrace your passion because
exactly.
It's going to take to be really courageous sometimes.
Because, you know, the first corruptors, even if you had loving parents, the first people that corrupted you, because what they didn't achieve, what they didn't gain, they want you to do.
Exactly.
And so you maybe weren't interested in that, but to abide by them and to trust them and to be nice to them and to love them, you did things that maybe you weren't comfortable with.
Yes, yes.
And I see it because I'm with people who are very enlightened or frightened. Either they're told they're going to die and they come to us, or they become enlightened and they come to us. And both of those are from fear. Remember, both are for the same reason. They fear they're going to get sick in age, or they fear they are going to die. So with that said, I've had an opportunity since I was a young man in my 20s to watch what we're talking about now. Now, basically fear is the impetus for change or the impetus for disaster, period. It is what creates reality or takes away life.
Yes.
Now, if you use the perception of a glass half empty, you're going to die from fear. Because you're going to find a way to sabotage your life. I'm not worthwhile. I can't do this. I can't eat right. I've got to stick to ritual. I've got to stick to rhetoric. I can't do anything. See, I'm getting sick. I'm going to die like my mother. Okay. Or you can use it the opposite. It's half full. And say, isn't this a wonderful experience that I'm frightened into enlightenment? And who cares how you're frightened? But the fact is, as long as it makes enlightenment, that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's definitely the description of being conscious. I like that a lot. So.